there was a question about making fade effect gradients on lines with MadLaser. So let's have a look at how it works. So I created new, I can create a new laser project up from scratch. Now I already have a laser output. If I have a DAC connected, I can choose it here. I will create a line surface. So I can create a line surface by clicking once and a second time, or I can do it by clicking multiple times, or I can do it by clicking and keeping my mouse down while moving. Let's start with a simple line. So as you can see, I have a small preview of the laser beam, which can be activated or deactivated like this. Now, if I want a small fade on the edges of the line surface, I can go here in the active segment where I can choose which part of the line I want to show. I can add some smoothing at the beginning and at the end. Okay. So there is a small fade here. Now, if I want a color gradient, well, first, the visual here we used for the laser line surface is a full white solid color. So this one. If I apply the gradient color, for instance, then I have this visual that is applied to my line. If I have a second line here, the visual is applied, this line here at the center will be dispatched over the two passes that I have in my line, those two ones. And I can choose that with texturing options, where here it's media line chained, which means that it's dispatched over all the segments, but I can dispatch it on each segment. So here the center line of this visual will be dispatched, will be mapped to each line individually. You can also choose to match output geometry. So in this case, the square that I'm choosing here is mapped inside the square, and we cannot see it well with this visual because it's fully it's the same thing vertically. But if I do like something we can understand, maybe this one. Okay, so I think with that you can understand. And well, that's not what I want to do. Actually, I want to have a single line. So let's remove this one. Let's remove the second one. I have a single line here, and I want to have a gradient not animated. So let's disable the animation of my gradient color visual. And I have two colors actually. I might want to have three. So I have a color at the center. Let's make it red at the center, and let's make it cyan, maybe, or I don't know. Up, cyan for color 1 and cyan for color it's not at the center. Okay, so here I've got my gradient because this visual is mapped on my line. Okay, now I can still add some FX, like if I want an FX here in my laser line surface, I can choose noise, for instance, and then I can animate the geometry of my line surface to make it animated, or I can use the beam FX, for instance, to have the beams going through the pass. There are more effects. You have the 3D transform, for instance, which does some stuff like this. And there are more effects on the library, public library. There are some effects done by some users and things like this. Okay, so I suppose it should answer some of the questions. Enjoy, MadMapper. Ciao.